Welcome back. We are in the garage because it is 9 degrees outside today, and we are going to tackle this log or wood hauling trailer that we're putting together for the tractor or possibly the golf cart, whichever, depending on how big this thing ends up being. We'll see which one will pull it the best. And so I have gone to the scrapyard in a previous video, and we got a bunch of scrap, $150 worth of steel and wheels and axles and bits and pieces of junk. So now the challenge is using what we have to build something functional. And so let me show you what we got and what the general plan is that we're going to start with. When we went to the scrapyard, we got just whatever steel I could find easy to access in the pile. We've got some square stock here, a few pieces. We've got this big beam here that looks like it may have come off of a trailer of some sort. I got a bunch of these steel tubes, and then we found these wheels and axles, and it looks like it got pretty mangled up. I don't know if it got into an accident. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but the wheels are all, the tires are all holding air, and as far as I can tell, all the wheels spin. The hubs are still good, and they've got grease points on the ends of them, so I can grease them up. However, there is one of the wheels that is, the rim is bent. And so it actually looks like just the steel of the rim, and then it looks like it got hit right here. It's still holding air though, so the bead is still good. And I also have bits and pieces of scrap that I've saved over the years. I got a bunch of smaller square stock and some steel netting like that. Got a few pieces of thinner square stock and some other stuff that I've just saved from various bits and pieces of things I've either built or scrapped or saved over the years. And so some of this may come in handy also for us. We've got our welding cart out. We've got our So the first step is going to be, I'm going to take all this apart. There's some bolts and pieces that I can take apart here, and we're going to see if I can use a jack to straighten this wheel out, and then that will determine our next steps. It's straighter, but certainly not straight. Worst case scenario, I'll take this to my friend Jim and see if he can use his press to straighten it up, or I can just buy a new wheel. I'm sure I can find one used or a cheap one that won't be too much. All right, after a few measurements, I think I have a good plan. I am going to widen this just a little bit. The tractor is 55 inches from outside of tire to outside of tire. I'm going to be a little more narrow than that, but a little wider than this. I've got some pipes that will actually fit right over these axles, and so I'm going to cut the bent part out of this, and I'm going to cut there's a little bent part on that I'll try to cut out as well. And then I'll use one of these pipes over here to rebuild both of the axles. I'm actually going to reconnect these supports together. They're bent a little bit, but I can fix that. And then I'll have my basic box built. I'm going to use some of the larger pipes to build a bottom. The pipes will run this way so that I can roll logs right off the back. The back will be that side and the front will be this side. I'm actually going to use this for the tongue. There'll be some kind of a pivot on the front so it can pivot up and down, and then this will be transformed into a tongue that will come out like a hay wagon and then be connected to this type of receiver or this type of hitch. I'm going to make some cuts, get the generator and the welder fired up, and then we'll start putting this together. because I know that somebody is going to be concerned. I do know that welding galvanized steel is the vapors that come off of that are dangerous. And so I've been doing a couple things to try to minimize my intake of that. I'm keeping the garage door open. I've got a heater in here that's circulating air, so it's kind of blowing the air around. I also try to grind off as much of the galvanized coating as possible, so I'm grinding the area away, which does help. And then other than just keeping my head out of the fumes and or kind of holding my breath if the fumes are coming right in my face, and just welding a little bit and then stepping aside and getting some air, I've been trying to do that. So far I've been fine. I haven't got sick or anything, so I guess it's working. Well, this is the 90% finished product. So I do still have to deal with this wheel, but It might roll. This is the crooked one. It's not too bad. I think it might just get away with leaving it as is. I do think now that I have this all put together, I could actually put a jack and a bar maybe between this side and this side and press it out. I did a quick first coat of spray paint, and I just used a paint that I had laying around. I actually like this color. I was gonna go all flat black, but this is called slate, and it's kind of a cool color. So I might stick with that. I might buy another couple cans of that and do the final coat. I know many of you are saying you should have notched out your pipes to sit flush down on top of this pipe so you get a better weld surface, and you're absolutely right. However, that battery powered cutter that I have, the DeWalt cutoff wheel, it chews through batteries, and so I was having to charge and change batteries all the time, even with the little cutting that I did. So I was trying to stay away from that. It would have taken a lot of extra time to round these out, and I don't really have a great way to do that. I don't have a lot of metal fabricating tools, obviously, because I don't do this very often. So they're all just sitting flush, and I did, off camera, I did a lot of welding. Tried to, flip this thing upside down and really kind of fill these gaps in with weld as much as possible. Some of it was wire feed, some of it was stick weld, and you know what? It's all stuck together. It's ugly, but it'll work just fine. So I did have to switch back and forth between the stick welding and the wire feed a few times. So this welder is a multi-function unit. It does just about anything. So it's got the wire feed option, and then it's got your hookups down here for your various polarities and attachments, the stick welder, your ground cable. Obviously, this is the plasma cutter, which I haven't been using because it just doesn't cut very pretty. Man, if you're gonna get a welder, this is the one I would recommend for the beginner, just because it does everything. It's super small, and it's worked just great for projects like this. So everything that you see here was all scraps, pieces and bits that I had laying around. I don't know what some of this stuff was. I can't remember if this was a bed rail or something. I don't know what this stuff was, but everything is removable as far as the front and the back. I built this so that this can be taken off and removed. So you just lift up on it. It just kind of sits in these hooks at the top, and then sits in the hook at the bottom. And then the back, this is all pinned in here. So there was actually these little brackets on the pieces of the frame that I got that were from the scrapyard. And so I just pinned the bottom of this in with one of these removable pins. And this allows this to function like a tailgate, so I can take these pins out. I'll probably have to get a little chain for these or I'll lose them. And then the whole thing will fold down. The idea is that I can stack logs in there this way and roll them right off. I think I can stack wood in here pretty high. This should hold just about any amount of weight, I think. We'll see. I guess we'll test it out here soon. But I can also take that back piece off like I showed you, and I can also throw larger logs in here that maybe would stick off the back or stick off the front a little ways. So if I wanted to put like 8-foot sections of log in here, I could do that. Now I would have to take the pins out of the tailgate completely and remove that, otherwise it'd just be dragging behind it, obviously. I used some extra pieces of metal rod and threaded rod and things like that to make the sides. Obviously this is going to be for bigger logs and stuff, so hopefully the pieces that are in here will be big enough to not slip out the side. I could always add a piece of plywood on the sides if I wanted to use this to haul something else. I also thought about maybe cutting a couple pieces of plywood that would fit in here on the bottom, the sides, and the front, because then I could use this to haul dirt around or wood chips or something like that also. The last part of this that I'll do on the next video is the actual hitch or the tongue of this trailer. Now it's built kind of like a hay wagon, except for it doesn't have the front steering, so it's not going to turn really well. What I have planned is I cut a notch in this. This actually will fit right on here. I'll drill a hole through this, and then I'll use a pin like this to put a pin in here. So that will give it my pivot up and down in case my hitch is a little higher than the trailer, which I think it will be. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, except for I'm going to cut the sides open. So essentially it'll look like this with a hole drilled through here, and then that will fit on my clevis mount. So I'll put that onto that kind of a hitch and then put your pin through, and then that gives it a pivot this way. So it should pull behind the tractor or the golf cart or the truck fairly well. The only thing I'm not sure about is the height difference between the hitch and the height of the trailer itself. We'll see how well that works. Let me know what you guys think. I've taken a lot of your suggestions as I put things together here, and this was definitely a lot of fun. I will have another video coming out soon with the kind of finished product, and I'll show you how the hitch all works, and we'll get it out into the valley and we'll haul some wood around. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. Hit thumbs up if you liked the project today, or even if you don't, do it anyway. And of course, subscribe if you want to tag along. Lots of DIY projects and homesteading type things here on the channel. Love to have you join us, and we'll see you next time.